You are easier to control than you think, not because you are weak, but because you react. Every notification bends you. Every tone shift unsettles you. Every slide pulls you forward like a hooked fish. And the hook is small: a raised eyebrow in a meeting, a delayed reply, a passive-aggressive sentence wrapped in corporate politeness, a number in your bank account that feels too low. You tell yourself you are responding, but most of the time you are reacting. There is a difference. And that difference is the line between power and obedience. Observe your day. You wake up, already thinking, already answering imaginary arguments, already rehearsing explanations no one has yet demanded. You check your phone. A message. Your chest tightens. A news alert. Your jaw hardens. An email marked urgent. Your breathing changes. Nothing has happened, yet your body is moving as if arrows are flying. This is the trap. The world throws pebbles, and you respond with cannon fire. You think your reactions prove you are alive, but they prove you are programmable. Press stimulus, receive emotion, trigger behavior. Like a code sequence, ancient warriors understood something modern workers have forgotten. The first battle is internal. On a battlefield, the soldier who swings wildly dies first. In a royal court, the minister who flares in anger loses influence. In chess, the player who reacts emotionally to a sacrifice walks into checkmate. Reaction is the surrender of timing, and timing is power. Here is the brutal truth. Most of your suffering does not come from events. It comes from immediacy. You have been trained to believe that every stimulus requires instant engagement, instant defense, instant correction, instant opinion. You call this productivity, you call this responsibility, you call this passion. It is none of those. It is conditioning. From childhood, you were rewarded for reacting quickly. Answer fast, defend yourself, speak up, don't let them win. But no one taught you the art of withholding. No one taught you the sacred delay, and so you enter adulthood like an open nerve, raw, exposed, available, especially in toxic environments. The modern workplace is not a battlefield of swords. It is a battlefield of triggers, subtle ones. A manager says, "Let's revisit your performance." Translation in your mind, "You are not enough." A colleague interrupts you mid-sentence. Translation, "You are insignificant." A client delays payment. Translation, "You are unsafe." Notice what happened. A neutral event occurred. Your mind assigned meaning. Your body reacted. Your behavior followed. Chain complete. Stimulus, interpretation, emotion, action. You did not choose. You executed. Imagine a puppet. The strings are thin, almost invisible. One string tied to validation, one tied to money, one tied to reputation, one tied to comparison. When someone tugs the validation string, you lean forward. When someone tugs the validation string, you stiffen. When someone tugs the fear string, you scramble. The puppeteer does not need strength. He only needs predictability. This is why provocation works. In toxic rooms, there is always someone who studies reactions. They make a sarcastic remark, then watch. They delay information, then observe who panics. They apply subtle pressure, then measure who bends. The loudest reactor becomes the easiest target, because now they know your buttons. And once someone knows your buttons, they own your rhythm. You may say, "But I cannot just ignore everything." Correct? Indifference is not ignorance. It is discipline. But before discipline, there must be awareness. Right now, you confuse reaction with strength. You believe that firing back proves dominance. But watch closely. When someone insults you and you respond instantly, who controlled the timing? Not you. When an email ruins your mood for 3 hours, who controlled your nervous system? Not you. When financial anxiety dictates your tone with family, who commanded the room? Not you. Reaction is outsourced authority. You are allowing external events to schedule your internal state. That is not freedom. That is occupation. In ancient courts, the most dangerous advisor was not the loudest, it was the quiet one. The one who heard everything, revealed nothing, moved only when the board was clear. Because reaction reveals position. When you react, you show what you fear. You show what you desire. You show where you are vulnerable. Stillness hides all three. Picture a lake. Throw a stone. Ripples appear. Now anyone watching knows exactly where the stone landed. But if the lake is deep and absorbs the impact, the surface returns to calm. No coordinates revealed. Your mind must become that lake. Not frozen. Not lifeless. Deep. Depth does not deny the stone. It absorbs it without performance. There is a psychological illusion you live under. You believe emotions are commands. They are not. They are signals. Signals are meant to be read, not obeyed. Anger signals boundary. Fear signals uncertainty. Shame signals social threat. But a signal is not an instruction. When a fire alarm rings, you assess. You do not burn the building down. Yet when anger rings, you attack. When fear rings, you explain. You have mistaken alarms for orders. This is why you are exhausted. Because the world is loud, and you respond to every bell. Consider chess. A novice reacts to threats immediately. A master studies them. A novice sees an attack and panics. A master asks, "What does this reveal about my opponent's plan?" Reaction narrows perception. Pause expands it. When you react, your vision shrinks to the insult, to the email, to the comment. When you pause, the field widens. You begin to see patterns. You begin to see who thrives on chaos, who manipulates urgency, who tests boundaries. Without reaction, observation sharpens. Reaction narrows perception. Pause expands it. When you react, your vision shrinks to the insult, to the email, to the comment. When you pause, the field widens. You begin to see patterns. You begin to see who thrives on chaos, who manipulates urgency, who tests boundaries. Without reaction, observation sharpens, and observation is the foundation of strategy. Now we arrive at the first discipline, the sacred pause. Not 10 minutes, not a meditation retreat, just space. 3 breaths before speaking, 1 hour before replying to provocation, 1 night before making a financial decision driven by fear. This pause is not weakness, it is reclamation. In that gap between stimulus and response, you retrieve authority. Most people never enter that gap. They live on reflex. You will live on choice. There is something unsettling about a person who does not react. It makes others uneasy. Because their usual labors do not work, they raise their voice. You remain steady. They attempt sarcasm. You remain neutral. They create urgency. You assess calmly. This unsettles them. Because power thrives on predictability. When you stop reacting, you become unpredictable. And unpredictability commands respect. Understand this clearly. Indifference is not about becoming cold. It is about becoming sovereign. Sovereignty means your internal state is not rented out cheaply. It means not every opinion deserves residence in your mind. It means not every battle deserves your sword. Right now, you are fighting skirmishes all day. Micro conflicts, micro defenses, micro justifications, each one draining a little more energy. By evening, you are depleted, not from work, from reaction. You are not tired from effort, you are tired from emotional leakage. Every reaction is a small hemorrhage of attention, and attention is life force. If someone can dictate what you focus on, they can dictate what you focus on, they can dictate what you feel. And if they can dictate what you feel, they can predict what you will do. That is control. The armor of indifference begins here, with the decision to stop being immediate, to stop being available for emotional exploitation, to stop answering every knock at the door of your mind. From this moment forward, you will not react because you were stimulated. You will respond because you have decided. And that decision will not be rushed. In part 2, we will dissect the deeper mechanism, why your ego leaps to defend itself, why silence feels like defeat, and why the greatest form of dominance is often restraint. For now, observe. Watch your reactions tomorrow. Do not change them yet. Just see them. And when the next stone hits the surface, do not ripple. Breathe, let the lake remain deep. Chapter 1, Part 2. The sacred pause. Silence is not weakness, it is withheld fire. Most people speak because they are uncomfortable with tension. You will learn to let tension breathe. Because tension reveals truth, silence is not weakness, it is withheld fire. Most people speak because they are uncomfortable with tension. You will learn to let tension breathe. Because tension reveals truth, there is a moment, so small you rarely notice it, a fraction of a second, between what happens and what you do next. That is the battlefield, not the meeting room, not the inbox, not the argument at home. The battlefield is the gap, and right now, you surrender that ground instantly. Someone challenges you, your heart rate spikes, your mind races, your mouth opens. Too fast. The speed feels powerful, it feels sharp, it feels intelligent. But speed without awareness is reflex, and reflex can be programmed. You are not trying to win arguments, you are trying to protect identity. That is why the reaction is immediate. Identity hates uncertainty, it wants resolution, clarity, victory. But strategy loves uncertainty. It waits. Imagine an ancient general. An enemy army appears across the valley. The inexperienced commander charges at first sight. Steel meets steel. Chaos erupts. The seasoned general does nothing. He studies wind direction, terrain slope, enemy formation, supply lines. His soldiers grow restless. Why do we not attack? Because timing is more powerful than force. In your life, you are the restless soldier, charging every time your ego detects movement. The sacred pause transforms you into the general. Here is what happens physiologically. A stimulus triggers emotion. Emotion triggers adrenaline. Adrenaline demands discharge. Speech is discharge. Anger is discharge. Defensiveness is discharge. When you react immediately, you are relieving chemical pressure. It feels satisfying. But relief is not resolution. You have trained your nervous system to seek discharge instead of dominance. Dominance is not loud. Dominance is controlled. The man who can absorb insult without trembling. The woman who can hear criticism without flinching. They radiate something rare, self-possession. And self-possession intimidates those who rely on emotional manipulation. In toxic environments, reaction is currency. The one who reacts most pays most. Watch office politics carefully. A rumor spreads. Who scrambles to clarify? A subtle criticism is made. Who over-explains? An unrealistic deadline is announced. Who panics first? The one who reacts becomes visible, and visibility without control invites targeting. Stillness creates ambiguity. Ambiguity protects power. You fear that if you do not react, people will think you are weak. This fear is ancient, tribal. In small groups, silence could mean exclusion, but modern environments exploit that wiring. They bait you, they test you, they provoke to measure your thresholds. Every reaction gives data, your triggers, your insecurities, your limits. Silence gives them nothing, nothing to calculate, nothing to weaponize. The sacred pause has stages. First stage, physical stillness. When triggered, do not move immediately. Relax your jaw, lower your shoulders, slow your breathing. Your body is the first battlefield. If the body remains steady, the mind follows. Second stage, interpretive delay. Do not assign meaning instantly. A short email does not mean disrespect. A frown does not mean condemnation. A delayed payment does not mean catastrophe. Your mind invents threats faster than reality delivers them. Pause interrupts imagination. Third stage, strategic selection. Ask one question: what response strengthens my long-term position? Not what feels satisfying, not what feels righteous, what strengthens position. Sometimes that is speaking, often it is restraint. Consider water again. Water does not resist every rock, it flows around, it chooses direction based on terrain. Over time, it carves stone without violence. Reaction is impact, indifference is erosion, impact is loud, erosion is unstoppable. Financial stress is one of the sharpest triggers. An unexpected expense, a market dip, a missed opportunity. The mind screams, act now. invest, withdraw, argue, blame. But financial fear compresses perception. You see only the immediate loss. You stop seeing long arcs. The sacred pause in money decisions is not optional, it is survival. Every impulsive financial move carries the scent of fear, and fear leaves tracks. Others can smell it. Predators in business sense, desperation. The negotiator who is calm wins better terms. The buyer who can walk away pays less. The worker who does not panic negotiates from strength. Non reaction creates leverage. Now we confront something darker. Sometimes you react because chaos feels familiar. You grew up in noise, in volatility, in emotional unpredictability. Calm feels unnatural. So when life becomes still, you create friction. You argue unnecessarily. You overthink minor issues. You chase stimulation. Reaction becomes identity. Without it, you feel invisible. This is the addiction, not to conflict, to intensity. But intensity drains life faster than labor. The sacred pause will feel uncomfortable at first, like withdrawal, because you are breaking the habit of immediate emotional expression. Stay with it. There is an art practiced in ancient courts. When insulted publicly, the wise minister did not respond instantly. He allowed the insult to hang in the air. Why? Because silence forces observers to interpret. If he reacts angrily, the narrative becomes his anger. If he remains composed, the narrative becomes the aggressor's pettiness. Composure shifts judgment. People study reactions more than words. If you remain unshaken, observers recalibrate. They assume strength. Even if you feel turbulence inside, internal turbulence is allowed. External discipline is required. Armor does not eliminate flesh, it protects it. You must understand something clearly. The sacred pause is not suppression. Suppression buries emotion. Pause examines it. You are not denying anger, you are interrogating it. Why am I triggered? What am I protecting? Is this about principle or pride? Often it is pride. And pride is expensive. You spend reputation defending it. You spend relationships defending it. You spend sleep defending it. When you begin to see how often pride drives reaction, you will laugh quietly at your former urgency. Let us speak of time. Every reaction accelerates the tempo of your life. Faster speech, faster decisions, faster conflicts. Life becomes frantic. The one who controls tempo controls direction. Slow down, not lazily, deliberately. Respond 2 beats later than expected. Let others reveal more. People speak excessively when uncomfortable with silence. Silence becomes your intelligence gathering tool. There is power in being unreadable, not mysterious for drama, unshakable in rhythm. If your mood cannot be easily altered, if your pace cannot be easily rushed, if your expression cannot be easily manipulated, you become difficult to move. And what is difficult to move commands caution. Tonight, when you reflect on your day, identify 3 reactions, not dramatic ones, small ones. An irritated glance, a defensive tone, a hasty message. Imagine inserting a 3 breath pause there. Visualize the alternative. See how the dynamic shifts. This is training, like strengthening a muscle long neglected. At first, you will fail often. That is expected. Awareness precedes mastery. Remember this line. Reaction is surrendering authorship. Pause is reclaiming authorship. You are not here to eliminate emotion. You are here to roll it. In the next chapter, we will go deeper. We will expose the architect behind your reactions, the ego, the part of you that fears invisibility more than injustice. For now, practice the gap, guard the gap, expand the gap, because in that narrow strip of silence, you stop being a puppet and you begin becoming a strategist.